For Jack Nelson, the road between two worlds started at the time he was in 5th grade at Dunbar Elementary School in New York City. That's when he met the director of a nonprofit program that helps disadvantaged kids prepare for high school. Little Jack was sitting smack in the center of the class. He was very excited, and his legs were bouncing all around. The director was explaining to the class how it was possible to achieve your dreams by taking one step after the other. The future would be there for you. When he asked of anyone if anyone was interested in summer learning, Jack was the first student to respond. While passing out the application, the director told the children to answer the questions in the first section themselves and to request their parents to fill out the rest. When Jack got to that portion, it never occurred to him to ask his grandmother, with whom he was living at the time. Jack's grandmother dropped out of school early in the 11th grade. Jack was born into a family seemingly destined for heartbreak. His mother abandoned him and his sister soon after he was born. His father, who died when Jack was 14, was a role model in an unusual way. His father was a drug dealer. However, he advised his only son to live life as opposite from him as possible. One evening when Jack's cousin had been arrested and taken to jail, his father came into his room and he pleaded with him to always avoid getting into trouble. At that time, he said something Jack buried deep within his heart. He told Jack he was very special, that he possessed what it took to make it. Almost his entire life, Jack lived alone with his grandmother in an inner-city housing project. The apartment was spotless. It had several framed biblical and inspirational messages hanging on the walls. Though her words may have been sparse, the ones she did speak had an impact on Jack. Jack remembered the time he got taken to the police station. He and a friend both were approximately 14. They were walking to a grocery store when they were stopped and taken to the police station as suspects in a robbery. Later, when the police released them and Jack's grandmother arrived to pick him up, he told her he didn't do anything. She was very quiet. Then she looked directly at Jack and said he was turning out exactly like his father. Those words penetrated Jack's heart. He could have rebelled at that time. Instead, he recognized how easily he could travel down the same path as his father. Jack used that moment as a reminder of what could be if he didn't make his grandmother proud. In the beginning, he got the feeling that his grandmother just wanted him to graduate from high school and get a decent job. After all, not a single person in his family had ever graduated from high school, let alone college. When Jack was accepted by one of the most prestigious private high schools in the eastern U.S., his grandmother's expectations seemed to rise. Shortly after starting high school, Jack began to look forward to college. By the end of his 3rd year, Jack was tall and lanky and was very mature. Whenever he was at school, he was surrounded by many of the richest kids in New York. Several drove extremely expensive vehicles into the student parking lot. Jack took the city bus to school. He commuted for an hour and a half across one of this country's most gaping economic divides. The contrast between his life of poverty and school days at the affluent high school is the stuff of a modern tale of two cities. Jack was on full scholarship and lived on what he made from working and what his grandmother provided from her welfare check. It was very difficult. Jack didn't want to end up on a city corner selling drugs. He didn't want to wonder what he could have accomplished had he done his best. Many others would give up. Jack was determined to climb the rungs on the ladder to better times. Jack desired nothing more than to go to college. By the world's standards, he had the statistical right to become a hoodlum. According to the U.S. Department of Education, 2 out of 3 high school kids in situations like Jack's don't make it to college. Jack had something statistics don't reveal, something he made clear when he applied for admittance to his high school. One question on the application was, what makes you different from the other kids you know? Jack's answer was, I believe in myself. An absence of family role models did not hinder him. Jack possessed an amazing ability to glean inspiration from wherever he could. Jack got his dream of going to college from a television show. While he was growing up, Jack felt as if the entire world experience was a tug of war. Sometimes he felt badly because his friends thought he was trying to forget them, because he wouldn't socialize with them in the park during the evening. Jack knew that not much good would come from hanging around and doing absolutely nothing. At the same time, Jack felt that although a lot of high school acquaintances were very nice, they did not have very much in common. Jack attempted to belong to both worlds. Kevin Richardson, who drove a Mercedes and lived in a house with a pool and basketball court, was one of the few wealthy kids Jack associated with on weekends. Every morning he went to school. Jack noticed many stunning changes. The most amazing change occurred within Jack. He had to make a transformation between two worlds to survive. When the long bus rides or the feeling of being different brought Jack down, he fought the temptation to give up with his belief in the future. When are you taking the RPR?
I'm scheduling it for January now.